Legendary Pink Floyd guitarist David Gilmour is thinking of selling the band's catalog for $500 million, not out of avarice, but in order to finally be free from the continuous fight with his ex-bandmate Roger Waters. The music of Pink Floyd has stayed iconic, but a backroom drama by Gilmour and Waters has always dictated the legacy of the band. David Gilmour, the legendary Pink Floyd guitarist and vocalist, has caused a stir with a bombshell announcement regarding the band's iconic music. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Gilmour announced he intends to sell the rights to Pink Floyd's entire music catalog. But here's the kicker. His motivation isn't about securing a massive payday, which could easily reach hundreds of millions. Instead, it's far more personal for Gilmour. His complex and often tumultuous relationship with former bandmate Roger Waters seems to be at the core of why he'd like to be rid of the band's catalog. Pink Floyd is arguably one of the most respected and successful rock bands out there, deeply influential on classic rock and leaving a mark that endures. The music of this band has left such an indelible mark on the genre that it finds itself enshrined in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yet behind these monumental achievements lies a history frazzled with tension, particularly between Gilmour and Waters. Gilmour has grown increasingly weary over the years at having to manage the band's legacy, which has been complicated by ongoing issues involving Waters. As if to say the matter of having to deal with the band's past, especially with Waters' involvement, has become more of a burden than a privilege to Gilmour. Tired of the friction always there, which further added stress to the joys of preserving their musical heritage. What's driving Gilmour to sell the Pink Floyd catalog? Surprisingly, it is not about the potential financial windfall that could easily reach as much as $500 million. As Gilmour explains, "I just want to get rid of the constant decision-making, the arguments, and the stress." For him, it's more a question of escaping the continuous drama surrounding the band and the lingering connection to Waters. He admitted that it has always been his dream to just walk away from the tension that's long surrounded Pink Floyd's legacy and give him some peace and closure. This feud between Gilmour and Waters is not new. In fact, it has gained steam over many years. Waters left Pink Floyd in 1984, but Gilmour continued performing under the Pink Floyd name, leading to a bitter legal battle between the two. The courts finally took the decision, but it did not manage to get rid of the tension. The ill feeling between Gilmour and Waters never broke their occasional reunions during recent years, include the one during their iconic 2005 performance at Hyde Park. Even after those moments, there was little real will from either party to put the dampers back together or work again for quite a time. He told Rolling Stone that the idea to sell the catalog of Pink Floyd has been in his mind for a while, but it wasn't until recently that he started seriously considering the move. Discussions of a possible sale heated up last year, with reports that a major deal was close to being sealed. But negotiations hit an unexpected hitch, in part because of a new barrage of inflammatory public statements from Waters, which revived tensions between the two men. Gilmour appears to suggest that such incidents have made matters even worse, as Waters' outspoken views continue to muddle the sale process. What initially appeared to be a rather straightforward financial transaction has become embroiled in the long-standing personal disagreement between the two musicians. The decision-making process is one of the major sources of Gilmour's frustration. The internal system of the band had always called for unanimous consent for any major decisions related to the band's legacy. As Gilmour has explained, three may agree upon a course of action, yet if even one person disagrees, nothing moves. This is a gridlock that has repeated over the years, a system of governance that has added considerably to Gilmour's frustration and weariness. Not being able to move forward without endless negotiation, the impossibility of effecting progress without it, has made the preservation of Pink Floyd's legacy more chore-like than a joy to Gilmour. Before further speculation about the possible sale of Pink Floyd's catalog, there is an elephant in the room that needs to be acknowledged: the increasingly ugly dispute between David Gilmour and Roger Waters, which has reached new and unprecedented levels of rancor. Back in early February, on February 6th, Gilmour's wife, Polly Sampson, unleashed a withering tweet that labeled Waters anti-Semitic, misogynistic, and dishonest, among many other things. Of course, it was a set of salacious accusations, and Gilmour wasted little time in corroborating his wife's statements, tweeting how every word is demonstrably true. In any case, it's made a rift between the two former bandmates grow much deeper, proving that the animosity between them is much stronger than it's ever been. Roger Waters has made headlines recently, not just for the controversies he's been accused of, but for his outspoken stance on global issues. He has publicly denounced the ongoing war in Ukraine, urging world leaders to seek peaceful resolutions and end the conflict. On February 8th, just days after Sampson's controversial tweet, Waters addressed the United Nations, delivering a powerful and passionate plea for peace. He called for an end to all wars, including the devastating conflict in Ukraine, emphasizing the importance of dialogue and diplomacy over violence. Waters also highlighted the broader issues of global inequality, speaking out for those who suffer the most: the hungry and the cold, the sick and the oppressed. His speech resonated with many, as he urged the international community to focus on humanitarian aid and support for those in need, rather than perpetuating cycles of violence and conflict. Waters' message was a stark reminder of the human cost of war and the urgent need for a united effort towards peace and equality. Despite Polly Sampson's incendiary accusations, there is precious little in the public persona of Roger Waters, or indeed in his lyrics to overtly justify such opinions. He is undoubtedly not one to mince his words and highly opinionated, especially in politics. His opinion often aligns with concepts of peace, justice, and human rights. He is an anti-war advocate and a voice for the oppressed. This is part of his publicity. Though his thoughts are surrounded by controversy, particularly when he goes against the tide, many of his fans hail him as a humanist, one that tends to use his platform, being a musician, to speak of global issues. What does that all portend for the future of the Pink Floyd music catalog? Eventually, will David Gilmour and the rest of the band sell their rights, joining the many other classic rock stars who have cashed in on their musical legacies in recent years? The answer remains anybody's guess. But while Gilmour seems rather anxious to proceed with the sale, controversies involving Waters in recent times have managed to throw a wrench into such a process. If Gilmour and Waters can actually come to an agreement and sell Pink Floyd's music catalog, that could have quite an effect on the fans. It could well mean that more classic albums get reissues, for instance, and their music becomes available across more streaming services. Even new projects can evolve around their timeless music. Fans would be able to enjoy previously unheard tracks, or new ways to experience the iconic songs by the band. For Gilmour, the sale would represent a chance to finally divest himself from the unmoving stress of the band's legacy, which he once said was a mud bath of endless disputes and frustrations. Less clear is what Waters gets from the sale. He would no doubt benefit financially. But one thing, despite their relentless personal spats, is beyond doubt. Pink Floyd has already left rock history in some dynamism, resulting in albums such as The Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, and The Wall, leaving indelible marks in the music world and continuing to remain a favorite of millions of fans worldwide. Whether or not the band decides to sell the catalog, the creations will definitely remain with listeners for time to come. The brilliance in their songwriting and the depth of their lyrics have transcended their personal issues, ensuring that Pink Floyd's legacy will live on, with or without the involvement of the original band members. The ongoing fight between Pink Floyd's David Gilmour and Roger Waters doesn't seem to come closer to some sort of resolution as their fans would love to see. What Gilmour uttered the instant he sold the catalog really demonstrates that he is totally sick of these tussles and would like to be taken away from the burden of a rock group's legacy. He revealed how tired he was of continually referring to past arguments and of the dramatic reality entailed in Pink Floyd's history. He even said in one Rolling Stone interview, "It's over. I'm done with it." Gilmour says now, in his 70s, how long since the departure of Waters from the band in the 1980s, and he would wish for all the conflicts to remain in the past. Meanwhile, Roger Waters is still cantankerous and divisive, continuing to attract praise and outrage for what he says politically. And the future of the Pink Floyd catalog hangs in the balance as Gilmour looks to divorce himself from it and leave the legacy behind. but through personal and professional turmoil, the music of Pink Floyd remains nutritive, a source of inspiration for old fans and new musicians and non-musicians. Whatever will happen between the founding members, that which the band did will still reverberate down the face of rock history. The bottom line is, no matter what happens to their catalog, their music will remain as touching as it ever was, even though Gilmour and Waters can't seem to stop clashing. For fans, they know that whatever the drama unfolds to, it will be long since faded as the timeless and iconic legacy of the music remains.